All right, so like I said before, I'm Mark. I'm an intern under Joanna. I'm working on the Lake Erie Watershed Regulation Review with her. This slide is just showing a map of the watershed and subwatershed of Lake Erie, Niagara River. I think it's just important to realize that watersheds don't care about political boundaries. It's more of a communal effort between municipalities to work together to ensure water quality in the watershed. The Lake Erie Watershed Protection Alliance is an alliance between Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, and Erie counties. It's working together to protect the local Erie watershed for over 1.1 million New Yorkers and to aid local municipalities in achieving smart growth, sustainability, and resiliency through watershed management practices. Land use planning and water quality management. How we use our land directly and indirectly affects our water bodies. Development creates impervious surfaces affecting peak flow, aquifer recharge rates, and the capacity for soils to filter and absorb runoff. Implementing small changes to land use policies can have large impacts on local water qualities, and non-point source pollutants play a large role into water quality. This is just going over point source and non-point source pollutions. Point source is more of the direct piping of pollutants into a body of water, kind of what you would see with like a sewage overflow or just anything that directly puts the pollutants into the water. Non-point source pollutions are pollution originating from sources on land. This could be like land uses, agricultural purposes, lawn chemicals, anything like that really. So the goals for the project are to enhance community resilience and ecosystem integrity, promote smart growth, redevelopment, and adaptive reuse, provide local municipalities with resources, recommendations, and technical assistance, and aim to assist at least 15 municipalities in the focus area in reviewing existing codes and adopting provisions. These are some of the outcomes and deliverables. To create an assessment that looks at codes, regulations, and plans that impact local water quality, sustainability, and resiliency. To conduct the at least 15 municipal assessments and provide them with a report that outlines and provides recommendations and resources. To create a stakeholder group to develop the site plan review checklist and consider future training opportunities. And to create one site plan review checklist for municipalities and distribute widely. So phase 1 and phase 2 of the Regional Niagara River Lake Erie Watershed Management Plan were conducted in 2013 and 2019. Part of it was the Best Management Principles Assessment from 2013 to 2014 and then continued in 2019. These are just some of the questions that were put on the assessment for municipalities. And then this is an excerpt from the Town of Tonawonda's portion, just kind of overlooking so for the first question, like identify retrofit opportunities, they got a score of 1 on that, meaning that it is existing in the town code, but it is implemented fully, I guess. Moving forward, we hope to take this assessment and update changes since the previous assessment, implement new questions to target current practicing trends in land use planning and watershed management, look at what other communities are doing locally, statewide, and nationally, and what changes has the region experienced since 2013. Some example updated assessment questions. Identified brownfield and grayfield opportunities, number 2 there. Consideration is given to cumulative site level development related impacts, kind of looking into is development on a cumulative level looked at more. Looking into some of the model local laws that will be part of the resources provided afterwards. They offer insight into how other municipalities in New York and nationally have addressed water quality management and land use. They shouldn't be seen as a one-size-fits-all approach. Every municipality is different. They need different methods to work on water quality. Then they provide a framework towards enacting locally. These are just some of the model local laws for different categories. I won't go through all of them. I'll look at some of them, like the transfer of development rights in Riverhead, New York. It's a voluntary and incentive-based program to conserve lands. It involves sending zones and receiving zones. For the sending zones, will sell the development rights from their area into the receiving zones to conserve the land in the sending zones. Minimizing parking requirements. Buffalo is a well-known example of this, but looking more eastward in Rochester, there's no parking minimum in downtown or 3 other neighborhoods. It establishes parking maximums for all non-residential uses as well. In Canandaigua, which is in the Finger Lakes, there's no provisions to establish a minimum number of off-street parking spaces for any development. So these are just how other cities and towns in the state are looking at different ways to approach smart growth. And then if anybody wants a no obligation assessment for municipalities, you can contact Joanna or me, and we'll be able to get that done for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So does anyone have any questions for Mark or myself on this project? And or are there any municipalities on the line that this sounds like it might be interesting and you'd like to have an assessment done? I know Town of Boston has indicated some interest.
So you're shooting for 15, that's across the Lupa watershed?
Correct, yeah.
So you got some down south that you're.
Yes, we're gonna be working with all of the Chautauqua County municipalities that are currently under their local waterfront revitalization program. So there's 7 or 8 down there.
And are we going to take the ones that Waterkeeper might have worked with as part of that update as well?
I think we're trying to target municipalities that didn't have an assessment as part of phase 1 or phase 2. But for instance, Holland did have an assessment in phase 2, and I know that they're moving forward with drinking water assessments. And so like you had indicated an interest in learning more about overlay districts. So I will just mention that we've already we've drafted a fact sheet for you. So it's just gonna go through review through our planning folks and through DEC, and then we'll be able to provide that resource to you. So even if a municipality doesn't want a full assessment, we can do some research around some potential issues you might have and offer some resources for you.
Yeah, we have that, we went through a gap analysis of our codes and we've adopted quite a few things, and we're in the process of adopting quite a few, so.
Nice.
That's been done, but now we're still working on the APOD, so we're making progress.
Yeah, which is great.
Jean had her hand up.
Oh, Jean.
Yeah, Joanna, can you just go back to that slide that shows sort of the next steps? It was a couple slides back.
This one?
No, keep going. Yeah, this one. Thank you. The outcomes and deliverables. I just wanted to take another peek at that. Thank you.
Yeah, basically the idea is that we're updating the assessment that was used in phase 1 and phase 2. So adding things that, might be kind of have come to light more now, are considered best management practices now that might not have been 10 years ago. And then we're gonna conduct 15 at least assessments. We're also going to create a checklist for primarily planning boards. And so the idea there being that this is something that will go out to all the planning boards in the watershed as a resource for things they should consider when they're performing site plan review. And it's sort of beyond the scope of this project to take it to every single municipality and present it to them. But I think the idea is to kind of do that moving forward as we have conversations with municipalities, and it can be tweaked for each municipality as well. So depending on whether or not a municipality is like along the coast or inland, there might be a few things that are a little bit different. And so that's the sort of thing that'll be developed under this, but it might be tweaked a little ongoing.
So for the sustainability resiliency pieces, are you looking at all at the climate smart communities, different certification checklists that they have? Because that might help inform.
Yeah, we just started exploring that. So for
Cool.
instance, I know that they have points for comp plans if they meet certain criteria. So that's sort of a thing we're gonna try to look at and see if we can mesh these assessments with that.
Mhm.
The idea
That's
being
great.
that if a municipality has this assessment, we're able to identify where they might be able to get points through the Climate Smart Communities program. Or if a community is already in the Climate Smart Communities program and doing some of these things, then that can feed into this assessment as well.
That's awesome. And sorry, are you still looking for municipalities to do assessments on?
Yeah, if you have any suggestions, please reach out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm on the planning board for the town of Aurora, so that might, and we're just starting, well, we just put out an RFP for our comp plan to actually create a comp plan. So this could be a nice piece to add to that. So maybe we can connect later about that.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I know one of the things kind of from Aurora, East Aurora area that we will be researching is what some statewide case studies might be around front lawn planting regulations. So this would piggyback well on that, I think.
Yep.
Any other questions or any other municipalities that either might be interested in an assessment or have an idea around research they might want done? Some of the other suggestions just to get your juices flowing. So we have already started looking into overlay districts for drinking water source protection. As I just mentioned, the idea of regulations around front lawn plantings, or front yard plantings, I should say, to allow for native plantings or other types of vegetation in a way that it meets the goals of visibility or other things that municipalities might be worried about, but allows for, being pollinator friendly and some of these more ecological and ecosystem based goals. And then another thing would be researching, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, solar panels, sorry. So some of the kind of renewable energy goals that are out there, researching some of the best management practices around where those should be placed so that municipalities can have some guidance. I know some municipalities have already started to look at that, but we want to make sure that we're creating something that allows municipalities to think through some of the overarching issues around renewable energy placement, especially impacting water quality. So any other ideas around what folks might be interested in getting like a fact sheet around or case studies around?
I think both would be great. I mean, like John said, the town of Boston's going through a comprehensive plan updates. We're taking a lot of this information and baking it in. So for us, it's perfect timing for our process. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I know you're looking probably more around best management practices for drainage,
Drainage,
stormwater.
solar. We have a proposed solar project in town. Everything you just said is checkbox, checkbox, checkbox right down the line. And it's all underway and it's all happening as we speak. So, yeah. And I'd be happy to share that checklist also with either the supervisor group or Association of Erie County Governments as well. I'll get that out.
Thanks.
Anything else? Everybody's quiet today. All right, Mark, great job. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.